If you've been looking for a way to use up those turkey leftovers, those Thanksgiving leftovers, I've got the perfect recipe for you. It comes from this cookbook, Cook Once, Dinner Fixed, and it's a spicy turkey potato soup. And it's the perfect way to use up that leftover Thanksgiving turkey. Let's get it started. I am just so excited. Cassie Joy Garcia, who wrote this cookbook, Cook Once, Dinner Fix, and this is her newest one, and this cookbook, Cook Once, Eat All Week, is going to be a guest on my show, Homemaking with Purpose. And she was kind enough to gift me with a copy of this cookbook, Cook Once, Dinner Fix. I had already purchased the Cook Once, Eat All Week cookbook and made several recipes from it and several videos, and she liked what she saw, so she sent me an advanced copy of this one, and I was so excited to give it a try. And not only am I trialing a new recipe from this cookbook, but my friend Leona Dooley from Ebony, Ivy, and Time in the Kitchen is also trialing a recipe from the Cook Once Dinner Fix cookbook. So I'll be sure to link you to Leona's video so that you can check it out. So once you're done here, go on over and check out Leona's video. And I'll also put a link in the description box to the show where Cassie's going to be a guest tomorrow. And the nice thing about this soup, the spiced turkey potato soup, it only takes about 25 minutes to prep it and then about another 45 minutes of cook time. So I'm going to get this dinner started early because the last few days that my husband has gone out fishing, he's come back a little bit later than usual, but he's coming in the door famished. So I'm going to cook early so that it's done when he gets here. Plus I've got some other appointments that I need to get to throughout the day. So this way I have dinner out of the way and I can get to my other things and I can let it just sit on the stove with a lid on it and it will be fine. But before I get started, let me just say that this video is brought to you by Apron Diva, our online apron boutique. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. And this particular one is celebrating the Thanksgiving season, the season of gratitude. And I have been daily now thinking about the things that I am grateful for. All right, let's jump into it. So this is just another typical day in my life where I am cooking dinner and doing some of the things that I normally do. But I found, we'll say, a way to tweak my routine that I am really loving. Now, it started out accidentally. I usually do one small load of laundry every day. And usually by Friday, I don't have any laundry to do, or I might have one small load to do on Friday. But my husband has been doing a lot of fishing lately, so I've had a lot of kitchen towels to do, a lot of kitchen linen. And so since the towels were a little stinky, I threw them in at night and decided I would take them out and throw them in the dryer the next morning. And that's what I did. And it worked out beautifully. It was so nice when I came downstairs, I could just transfer those linens from the washer to the dryer, get them folded up and put away, and I had a nice fresh stock of kitchen linen for the day. So another day, I had a lot of laundry because, as I said, he's been doing a lot of fishing, and with the seasons transitioning, he has to wear like double layers. So it might start out kind of cool or chilly. So he'll have on some outer layers that are a little bit heavier than he normally wears with the lighter layers underneath. And then as the day progresses, he'll shed those outer layers. But by the time he gets home, everything's got fish goo or worm goo or something on it. So it all has to be washed. So I did one load of fishing gear, got it out the dryer, put away. And then a little bit later in the day, I threw in another load. And I thought, I don't feel like folding those clothes right now. Had just been a long day. And I didn't want to put them in the dryer. I don't like putting things in the dryer and letting them sit. That's a bad habit to get into. So I thought I'll let them stay in the wash and I'll put them in the dryer first thing in the morning. And that was what I did. When I came downstairs, I just brought down some hangers to just get them out of the dryer and get them on the hanger. And it worked out perfectly. So one of the things I've got to do this morning is get a load out of the wash and put it in the dryer, and then I'll get those hung up and put away. And then I've got a new book that I want to just kind of sit and read when I'm taking just a little bit of quiet time. So I better quit talking and get this dinner started, because I want to get the dinner started first, and then I'll take you along as I do some other things throughout the day. So what are we going to need to make this spiced turkey potato soup? Well, we're going to need about 1.5 cups of turkey, and just turkey leftovers shredded up or cut up into little cubes. So here's my leftover turkey. You're also going to need 1 pound of bratwurst, and I'm going to squeeze the brats out of the casing and then brown and crumble it up just like you do ground beef. And then we're also going to need about 1.5 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. So the first thing I'm going to do then is get the brats started, and while the brats cooking, I'm going to wash and peel the potatoes, get them cut up so that by the time I'm ready to get them into the pot, the potatoes will be ready. I'll also be using some chicken broth or chicken stock, and I will be using chicken broth that I have made myself, as well as, of course, celery and onions and a little garlic and some other seasonings, but I'll tell you about those as we go along. And then I will also link the cookbook in the description box below so you can pick one up for yourself. So let's get this started. I always like to give my hands a good wash after I've been handling raw meat. So now I'm going to get those brats crumbled up. This bratwurst smells so good, and you can see the spices that are in it kind of coming out, and they're here right around the sides of the pan. It doesn't crumble up as tiny as ground beef does, but it's crumbling up nicely. And if you've had turkey and dressing for the last 2 or 3 days, you are ready for a different flavor. Maybe something that's just a little bit more spicy than the blandness of turkey and mashed potatoes and dressing and little cranberry sauce. You're ready for a different spice, different flavor in your mouth. And this spicy turkey potato soup will be just the ticket. Like I said, a great way to use up those Thanksgiving leftovers. I'll get the things out first and throw them over a chair just so they don't wrinkle while they're sitting there in the dryer. dark load. Or shall I say dark load, but also some fleece, that kind of thing. These two shirts are going to go out on the line. I always forget the dish towel keeps the cutting board from spinning around. Now, some people would take the leaves off of the celery stalks and discard those, but I kind of like to put those in my soup. I think they have a lot of nutrition in them, and I just like it. It can only add to the goodness. Looks like we've got just enough for 2 tablespoons. We'll add our celery, onions, and garlic and just let it all saute together until the onions softens. I always like to wash my potatoes before I peel them because my hands would be touching the dirty peels and then the meat of the potatoes, so I always give them a good wash first. Now I've added 4 cups of chicken broth, and again that's chicken broth that I made myself. And then I'll add a 1.5 pounds of potatoes cut into 1/2 inch pieces. So now I'm going to cover this and just let it come to a low boil and let it boil for about 15-20 minutes, just until the potatoes are tender when I pierce them, and then I'll add some additional spices.
You know what? I'm doing great, just great. And boot camp has really been so good for me because it's really made me look at the way I've been doing things.
Now I'm going to add my 1.5 cups of diced turkey. So I need to chop some of this up a little bit smaller. I'm going to cube it up. And that's the nice thing about turkey. You can do so much with it. So I am so glad that Cassie Joy Garcia came up with this spiced turkey potato soup, because it's not something I would have thought of. I would have thought of turkey noodle or turkey rice or something like that, but spiced potato soup is a great idea. I love potato soup. I love turkey. So it's win-win. So once I put the turkey in, I'll add the other seasonings to it. And the nice thing about making this dish is that you're using leftovers. You've already got celery in the fridge from making turkey and dressing. You've got the turkey leftover. And the other spices you already have in your pantry. And of course, potatoes you usually have in your pantry as well. Let's see if I've got 1.5 cups so far. Okay. That's about 1 cup. I love turkey. Need a little bit more. Here we go. So now I'm going to add my 1.5 cups of turkey. One tablespoon of dried thyme, and this is thyme I dried myself. 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, but I like to use this cracked black pepper, so I tend to use just a little bit less. And you're supposed to use 1.5 teaspoons of salt, but I'm only going to use 1/2 teaspoon to start because I am using my own chicken broth and it was somewhat seasoned. And I can always add more, but I can't take it out. And then of course my 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. But it looks nice and hearty. It's smelling pretty good. I can smell that mustard. Now let's just give it a taste to see if I need to add more salt. I don't think it needs any more salt. I'm going to bring it back to a low boil, and then after it does that, I'm going to add my lemon juice, and then I'll taste it again, and if it's ready to come off the stove, then I'll plate it up, or shall I say bowl it up, and then I'll add my fresh chives to garnish. In the meantime, I've got some laundry that needs to come out of the dryer. It just beeped, so I'll take care of that while this is coming back to a low boil. This was a load of outerwear, fleeces and that kind of thing. Soft shirts for PJs and socks and underwear, those kinds of things, but mostly a dark load. I hope I brought down enough hangers, I'll tell you. That turkey soup, that spiced turkey potato soup is smelling so good. We're gonna really enjoy that for dinner. And it's certainly a flavor that I've not had with turkey before, so I'm really excited to have that for dinner. Now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and that'll be about the juice of 2 lemons. And when you squeeze a lemon, you put the lemon in this way, not that way. I used to do that wrong, but you put the lemon in that way. And then squeeze that juice in. One of my lemons was bigger than the other, so I think I'm going to just stop right here. This looks like this ought to do it. Now I'll give this a stir. And just let it simmer for about 5 minutes, and then it'll be ready to put in a bowl. I want to say plate up, but we're not plating it since we're putting it in a bowl. I know, I'm being silly. Now that I've added the lemon juice, I'm going to give it another taste just to make sure I don't need any more salt. I don't think I do, but I thought I'd better check. It's perfect. So now I'm going to turn the heat off and let it just sit on the stove for a little bit. When hubby comes in, I'll be able to just go ahead and plate it up, so to speak, and we'll be ready for dinner. I think I may need to have some kind of something to go with it. First of all, we'll have some peach cobbler, but whether or not I want to do corn muffins or if we want to do crackers, that's the $64,000 question. So I'll be thinking on that. In the meantime, now that the soup's done, I'm going to sit down for a minute with a cup of tea and just relax. Doesn't this look delicious? And it is so hearty. Now the recipe says that it serves 5, but looking at how much I've got in that pot, I'll bet it'll serve 8, particularly if you have a salad, some corn muffins, or some rolls or biscuits or something like that along with it. This would be a lovely meal that is hearty, definitely something that's cozy up, comfort food, and can feed a nice little crowd. You know, I am really loving this Cook Once, Dinner Fix cookbook by Cassie Joy Garcia. She has definitely got the right idea on helping to make dinner prep easier. I cannot wait to talk to her tomorrow to find out more about how she came up with some of the ideas and some of the recipes, and to learn more about her homemaking story. And Leona Dooley at Ebony, Ivy, and Time in the Kitchen also has something to say about this Cook Once Dinner Fix cookbook, because she is making a recipe out of it as well. And I'll just say her recipe is on page 36. And I'll link the cookbook in the description box below so that you can check out her recipe and the recipe that I made. To learn more about my homemaking stories, click here. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out another of my homemaking stories. And don't forget to check out Leona Dooley at Ebony, Ivy, and Time in the Kitchen. And I will see you next time. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com.